and then the exit is horrible. And honestly, it's very hard to get the lap right in Austria. I would have won in 2016 if Lewis Hamilton wouldn't have. Welcome to F1 Fridays. We're here in Austria. Austria was one of my best tracks actually. I won there in 2014. I won in 2015. I would have won in 2016 if Lewis Hamilton wouldn't have punted me off on the last lap. Just kidding, or half kidding. Anyways, yeah, it's a difficult track. There's a lot of big braking zones, and then also a very fast section. It's very short, and somehow it's very difficult to be fast here. You gotta build it up, like throughout the whole weekend, build up to really find that rhythm. Before we get started, we've got two things. First of all, with the top trending comment below in this video, I'll send you a gift. So good luck with that. The question this week is, who would you like to meet from the history of F1, like for a lunch, and why? For me, it would be Ayrton Senna. I think it would be just super inspirational to experience his personality. And the second one is very important. I'm also doing a raffle at the moment here on social media where you can win like my original F1 helmet from my time in F1, or even you can win a Tesla. So we would deliver you a Tesla Model Y, which you can then use privately for a year, which of course are awesome prizes. So please go on the link below now, buy your tickets for this raffle. Even one ticket, you have the chance already to win the main prizes, and all the monies are going to go to the Ukrainian emergency help, primarily for children, refugees. So really, people really need it. So please buy as many tickets below. And here we go for the hot lap now here in Austria. First lap I beat it. 1:12.7, here we go. Ready? Here we go, let's go for the slow lap. These straights are pretty short, so not too much to do here. Now this corner is super difficult. You always have to try and, it's most important to carry a lot of speed through this corner. So braking 80 meters, bam. You can use a little bit of the curb on the left here. It's always, the more you can use the better, of course, to open up the corner. And then it's between third gear or fourth gear, usually third gear though. And this curb, you cannot take it. It's very big. So you have to just put your tire right at the bottom of this curb. And then the exit is horrible because you have this big sausage curb on the exit, the yellow one. And usually the best line is putting the tires on the left onto the sausage curb and just riding it away like that. There's quite good grip on it. But the problem is going over then is a killer because you won't make it back anymore. If you go over it and you have the sausage curb in the middle, you can't make it back anymore, so then you're gone. So it's always a fine line, but I think the best way is to put the outside tires onto the sausage curb a little bit. There's good grip there. So then your fourth gear, fifth gear, accelerating, getting those upshift points exactly right is really important here. So we do a lot of tuning during the weekend of the shift lights because there'll be a software measuring how optimized your upshifting has been throughout the lap for every gear. So fourth to fifth, fifth to sixth, and it will tell you that fifth to sixth in general, you're ever so slightly slow with your upshift. So what you do then is that you make your lights a little bit faster just for those two gears. And then it might say 6 to 7, you're a bit fast. So you upshift before the optimum spot, and it's really a matter of hundredths, huh? But then you slow down the lights ever so slightly, and it just brings that upshift point into the right place. So those are all the details that we're all working on. Not everybody, but the best drivers will be working on during a weekend, or especially the best engineers. So here you're coming up the hill. Up the hill, of course, you can brake a lot harder. So you brake at 80 meters, It's very, very hard corner here because the inside is so like banked. So if you turn into the inside there, you'll often lock the front tire. So it's often not a negative to be like 1.5 meters away from the apex right here, because the track is a lot flatter here. And so that can really help you have a much smoother run. So very often you'll see that actually it's not a negative to be just offset a little bit. And you can very often choose to do that line also during the weekend. So that's very interesting to watch on TV then, what lines everybody's taking there. Then of course full power down here. Try and straight line as much as possible. So now we're going down the straight. And here it's just important to stay right because you want to straight line the braking. So then you turn left, so now you're straight lining, bam! At 80 again you're braking, super late braking here. And then you got oversteer coming into the corner, third gear down the hill. Huh? So very difficult braking down the hill because it's much more difficult to slow the car down when you're going down the hill. So it's really hard to be aggressive there without, and as soon as you like lock up a little bit, you're like gone. Because then down the hill the deceleration is less, with the lock up you're gone. So quite a high risk braking zone there. Third gear nevertheless. And then yeah, on the exit here I think you can run all the way to the green here, but that's so difficult because if you then go 10 centimeters further you're in the gravel, and the green here also carries you out a little bit, but it's just so advantageous to use as much of the road as possible. So in general in the past you have been able to go there. So now you come up here. These are like quite difficult corners, so it's very important here for a high-speed corner. You don't want to like come in, brake as late as possible, put the car out of control on the limit, because then you lose out for the rest of the corner. For a high-speed corner, you really want to arrive and brake smoothly, carefully, so as to not unsettle the car pitch, you know, because otherwise if you come in and you brake hard, you put the car onto its nose like that for a high-speed corner, and then you're going to have big oversteer snap and everything. So it just helps. And it's sometimes difficult because you give away a little bit of performance on the entry by braking that little bit earlier and more careful for a gain afterwards, which sometimes is very difficult to accept. So you do that, especially in the qualifying where you like pedal to the metal. So you brake a little bit earlier, a little bit more careful to keep the car flat as possible, you know, because that gives you the best aerodynamics then through the high-speed corner. Downshift as well, 6th, 5th gear, and then try and keep it really smooth, one steering input. And then slowly also on the throttle, no, like not from 0 to hero on the throttle, because then again you're just going to get a big snap. So also slowly on the throttle, open up the corner as much as possible. So here you run out all the way to this ugly red curb, and then probably you come back a little bit just to go back again when the red curb ends, because you want to open the corner up as much as possible. So you're now here. I think track limits there is not an issue, so you can really be even beyond the white line, but I think you can't really because the track ends here now. And then you turn in quite late here. You might be upshifting into 6th again here, and you turn in quite late, and then here is just a little bit of a lift going into the corner, and then straight on. And again, everything you're doing very smoothly, and use the maximum track on the exit all the way to the hardcore red curbs there, which really can damage the car. So it's really difficult because mid corner, once you commit to going on power, you really have to judge where you're going to end up. And if you end up too far and you have to lift off the power again, you lose so many tenths of seconds. So it's really crucial to nail mid-corner, nail it when you're going on power, and just hope you can hang on and not run out too wide on the exit. So then we come down here. You avoid this curb on the left because it's just going to slow you down. Straight line it. This corner again is super difficult. Again, don't brake on the last moment. You brake at 50 here, tap the brakes a little bit, one downshift to 6th, and then careful steering input, back on the power, flat out. And here again, it's so important to just get this exit right, huh? To predict where your car is going to go on the exit. That's everything here, because if you go too far, you're going to destroy your car on that rough curb stuff. And if you go too far and you have to lift off, you lose loads of time. You know, so that's difficult. And then here again, now you got to come back off this curb quickly, and then back to straight lining the car, brake, 5th gear, and then just dive bomb. And you can't actually see, because you know at the moment the visibility on this video, we're on the camera right above the car, but actually if you go down into the car, can I change the view please?
You want in the car?
Yes. No, there we go. So this is now the in-car view, which is very important for this corner, because the corner drops away so much that you don't actually see the inside of the corner. Here you do, but in the real life you don't. The track covers the inside of the corner. And so it's really by memory that you have to remember where you have to put that front tire, and you put it there. If you put it too much, you really slap onto that yellow curb, and it will just destroy everything. So you can never go there. So you have to put it just on the inside of the yellow curb, and you don't even see it until you actually get there. So it's very difficult. And then you drop down, and when you drop down, that's when the grip comes, and boom, you have to go back on the power, and your fourth gear. And now the exit is so difficult because the car, it's really pushing you out there all the time because the corner keeps turning. But at the same time, if you go too far, you're gone. You're on the grass, you're finished. So here it's like hanging on for dear life. You want to go on the power to finish the lap, but it's pulling you out. So there's a big challenge. You'll often see people going off there. So then you have to try and bring it back to the track. Like here, at the green concrete, you can still use that. And then just do the optimal acceleration to the line. That's it. Now let's go into the Q&A session. So, question 1 by Garnick. The Austrian GP is well known for overheating brakes, as you know. Haha, yes I do. So what is the best strategy to prevent it? Yeah, you're right. And why is it the case? Because the straights, I think, are relatively short and the brakings are very big. So that's why you tend to have overheating brakes here in Austria. What do you do to prevent it? So first of all, you have to open the brake ducts to let more air in, but that's always bad for the aerodynamics, so you want to avoid that. So what you do then in a race is that before you arrive to the braking zone, you lift off the throttle like 50 meters before you get there. So you're coasting, you're rolling down to the braking zone, you're coasting, because you lose very little lap time by doing that, but you get to the braking zone then with a lot less speed, and that reduces the energy disproportionately much. So that's the best way to lose very little lap time by saving the brakes in a big way. Is that strategy, and that's also how you save fuel a lot. So that's what we always have to do, that in every race. It's a big part of winning races. Question 2, Akash, how hard is it for Charles Leclerc to trust his car with all the DNFs? No, I mean, yes, you have DNFs all the time, but you still trust your team to make progress and to find improvements, because they will have gone through why the DNFs are happening, and they will have been finding solutions for them. So you do start a new race weekend thinking, okay, maybe now it's over and now the car will hold for the rest of the year. Question 3, Adrian, the Red Bull Ring has very few turns in comparison to other tracks, which means there's less room for error. How difficult is it for a driver not to mistake on a hot lap? No, you're right, it's a very short lap. And therefore, yes, there's less room for error, because if you do make an error in one of the few corners that there are, you cannot really make up for it anymore in the other corners. So it just adds a little bit of extra pressure. And honestly, it's very hard to get the lap right in Austria. All the corners are really difficult, because turn 1 also, just to get that line right, because on the inside you have that big curb, you have to miss that. On the exit you have that sausage curb. To get that line right from braking to big curb to sausage curb without having any, you can't be like not even 10 centimeters wrong, and you have to carry a lot of speed. It's really a challenging track to get right. So you really have to build the rhythm through the weekend. Question 4, Robert, do you think Mercedes is already focusing on 2023, just like Ferrari did last year? I'm not sure where Mercedes is at yet. Of course, at one point they'll have to try and focus on next year, but before they really understand their issues from this year, it would not be good to focus on next year. They really need to understand the car this year first. So it's important to develop the car this year to get a full understanding, and then focus on next year, which makes it such a catch-22 situation for them. It's really not easy situation to be in for Mercedes. Question 5 from Ted, what is the most difficult thing to do throughout a race? The start, managing tires, managing fuel. The most difficult thing to do throughout a race, I think it's really just lap after lap to be on it and drive on the limit and drive well, and also adapt, because every single lap is different. Every lap your tires are wearing more, every lap your fuel level is dropping, every lap the grip is increasing or the wind is increasing. So every lap is different. So you have to have this incredible ability to adapt also during a race from one lap to the next, and remember each corner in its own way. Because one corner might be changing in one way, the other corner might be changing in another way, and you can also then help a lot with all your settings to adapt as you're going along. Settings are really powerful from in the car. If you're getting a lot of oversteer, you can lock up the diff, and that's going to calm the rear down and put you into more understeer, which will really make you go a lot faster. Sometimes it can be up to 3-4 tenths of a second per lap just with your settings in the car, so there's so much you can do. Okay, that's it from me. Remember again to buy some tickets for my raffle, and remember also, if you get the most liked question below, I'll send you a surprise gift. So good luck with that. The question is, who would you like to meet from the past, like drivers, team bosses, and have lunch with? For me it was Senna. Thanks for tuning in, subscribe for the channel, have a lovely race weekend. I'll be watching as well. All the best, bye bye.